Let's move to the other big one yesterday, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. It was a challenge to the provision that the president, that the director of the CFPB could only be fired for cause, did not serve at the whim of the president, as it were. The argument was that's unconstitutional and the whole agency needs to go down the toilet. But that didn't happen.
Yeah, Robert split the baby here, and to be clear, I hate this decision. I think it's mainline constitutional to write a law that protects the agency director from the whim of the president. We have that in lots of other situations, right? We have it for the FBI. We have it for the Federal Reserve. Like every person who works in the government should not be fireable by the president when he goes on a Twitter rant. Like that would be better. But Roberts ruled, along with the conservatives, that the way the CFPB was written to make its director, again, unfireable but for cause, was an unconstitutional violation of the separation of powers and the appointments clause of the presidency, which basically means that Trump can and does fire whoever he wants, whenever he wants, for whatever reason he wants, right? That decision that kind of guts the CFPB also is what Trump is going to use to now put pressure on Fed Chair Jerome Powell. It is a one-to-one connection in terms of if Trump can do this to the CFPB, that means he can also fire Jerome Powell, which means that he can politically pressure Jerome Powell into making monetary decisions that Trump likes. It means that he could fire FBI Director Chris Wray, just like he fired FBI Director James Comey. This has a really negative effect on anybody's ability who works in government to exist in government without taking Donald Trump's loyalty pledge. On the other hand, the conservatives, again, going for the most wackadoodle, off-the-wall theory they could, didn't just want to say that firing the director was unconstitutional. They wanted to say that because firing director, making the director unfireable, was unconstitutional, that the entire agency was unconstitutional, which again is just crazy talk. It makes no sense. And Roberts did not go along with that. He said no. The issue with the director is what's legally called severable. That means it can be distinguished from problems with the organization in general, which means they can kind of correct the director issue without scuttling the entire agency, which is a mainline, obvious decision that for some reason conservatives are angry about because they're crazy now.
Well, had the court found that the independence of the director of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is essential to the creation of this agency, it would impart enough, it seems to me it would impart enough importance to the agency in and of itself that would then make it absolutely necessary for it to be independent, right? It was sort of it's circular. If you're saying that the whole agency is dependent upon the independence of this agency, you're basically saying, and then strike that down as unconstitutional. You're basically saying Congress has no authority to create anything. It seems to me.
Exactly. Which is why their theory was a bit off. Which is why the conservative theory was off the wall, right? And again, I think Roberts got it wrong here. I think the conservatives are wrong. I think that it is in keeping with constitutional principles for Congress to create an agency under the executive branch, appointed by the executive branch, that can't be fired by the executive branch every time Trump, doesn't like somebody's Twitter feed.
So what does this do to things like terms for the National Labor Relations Board?
Exactly. It scuttles those, right? It potential. There are so many, and the way they'll get around and the Labor Relations Board is that Roberts did try to be cute, where he said because it was a single director as opposed to a panel of directors, that's why it was a separation of powers issue, leaving open the possibility that if you have a panel of directors, you can protect them from being fired except for cause. Like it's a little bit kind of like too cute by half, I think. The import here is that this decision gives Donald Trump and truly any future president kind of unmitigated firing powers for people in the executive branch, which I think Donald Trump proves that's how dangerous that is. That means that the president can kind of force everybody who works in government to swear loyalty to the president if they want their job, which is not good government. And why I think the conservatives are wrong, but they get to be on the Supreme Court, and I'm here talking to you.
I just don't understand like it's a bizarre. How is there a legal principle that one person can't serve, it can't be fired for cause, but if you have multiple people, they're protected? Like, I mean, how is that a constitutional principle?
I mean, he made it up, Sam. He made it up. It's what they do sometimes. He made up a different. He interpreted separation of powers in such a way as to make up a distinction between a single head versus a board of directors.
All right.
I don't know what to tell you.
Okay, listen. So